Imagine a world where you as a 10-year-old can go on your own adventure to discover over 150 different monsters, capture them and then fight with them to become the very best like no one ever was. Well, that my friends is known as Pokémon. But I don't think I had to tell you that. I mean, Pokémon has been out there for over 20 years and has been quite popular for basically its entire lifetime. Even now, they're still making new games with Sword and Shield coming up at the end of the year, and even though they're making some questionable decisions, I'm still really excited to see what these games are gonna bring us. It are times like these that I always look back at the previous games, and that gave me the idea to make a little video series where I share and discuss my experiences of these games with whoever's interested. So without further ado, let's just get right into it and see how it all began with Pokémon Yellow version. You can probably hear through my excitement that I've been a Pokémon fan for a long time, my entire life to be exact. Ever since I was a kid, I watched the show on television and had lots of merchandise like the cards, stickers, plushies, wait. Action figures, that's right. All either bought from my own savings or gifts from family members. I vividly remember this one day when I was around 5 years old, when I was at a toy store, my grandparents bought me a Pokémon book, even though I was still unable to read. Yeah, that's the perfect present, guys, you're doing great. Without joking though, by just looking at the pictures, I loved this book, even though I had no idea what it was about. It took me a while to get into games, however. See, back then we still lived in different times, where not every 4-year-old had their own smartphone. The smartphone didn't even exist yet. Per household you usually had like one TV and maybe a computer. Houses didn't have many electronics at the time, so I was only given a Gameboy when I became 7 years old. And even then, I had never seen anyone play Pokémon, so I wasn't planning on getting the game myself either. I thought they're probably just a bunch of minigames or something, like there's no way there would be a game where you can actually have your own Pokémon adventure, right? Nah, this is nothing special. So how did I eventually get Pokémon Yellow, you ask? I didn't. I never actually owned the game myself. However, once I was hanging around at a friend's place, I happened to find it and he allowed me to play it while I was there. Once again, I had no idea what to expect, but what I got exceeded all my expectations. It was basically a way to live the anime yourself with complete freedom. You pick the Pokémon, you pick the moves, you decide where to go. This game blew my mind. However, this game, or rather this save file, had a bit of a handicap. Like you would expect, my friend already had a save file and obviously didn't want me to start anew. I didn't care continuing with his story, but his game was in a rather unique state. His current save file was located at Viridian City and he somehow managed to have defeated all trainers up until Brock and was out of money and items. How my friend got in this situation? I have no idea, but the worst part was that the only Pokémon he had were a Pidgey, the tiny bird Pokémon, and of course Pikachu, the mouse Pokémon. And unfortunately, this Pikachu wasn't one of those Pikachus who are on par with legendaries, can hit ground types and have a ton load of plot armor, nor the kind of Pikachu who are secretly a detective while wearing a cool hat. Man, that's a cool hat. No, this Pikachu was around level 8, with the Pidgey being around that level as well, so they really weren't that special.
Hey, don't look down on us just cause we're low level. We have just as much potential as any other Pokemon. Right, Pidgey?
You're right. What kind of trainer am I if I don't even believe in my own Pokemon? I'm such a disgrace. I'm sorry. I think it's best if we just start training. Let's start with this innocent little Caterpie. Pikachu, use Iron Tail!
Yes! Wait, Iron Tail? I can't do that.
Oh no, believe me, I've seen this on TV. It's strong enough to send 2 human beings and a cat flying through the sky, so it's a great move actually.
No, I mean, this is still Generation 1. Iron Tail doesn't exist yet. I don't have access to that move.
So, what moves can you use?
I can growl at them.
Like I said, these Pokemon are really weak, and so you might expect that having to defeat 2 rock types with 2 low level Pokemon who are weak against a rock type wouldn't be too much fun. But this was a little different. Remember that book I got from my grandparents that I mentioned before? Turned out this was none other than the strategy guide for the game Pokémon Yellow. Once I started playing, I instantly recognized it from the book I've been analyzing years earlier. This obviously didn't give me a way to defeat Brock in this state, but it made me eager to progress, so I spent the entire day leveling up by fighting wild Pokémon and trying to fight Brock over and over again. Alright, I've lost this battle countless times, but my Pokémon just reached level 15 and this might be the time I finally win. Go, Pikachu!
No, I don't want to do this anymore. We've lost this battle 27 times and only beaten his first Pokemon twice. I want to go back to Viridian Forest and fight level 2 Caterpies again.
Nah, come on Pikachu, it's not that bad.
For you, maybe. You're just standing there screaming at me. I'm getting hit by rocks all day.
Rocks aren't that bad. I eat rocks for breakfast and lunch. Not for dinner though. For dinner I was actually planning to order some Chinese. Could I also get you anything?
What are you even talking about? Oh!
We almost had him.
No, we didn't.
We did eventually manage to beat him, however, when both Pikachu and Pidgey, who by now was evolved, were around level 20. After I won, I immediately told my friend, who then wanted to play himself again since he was finally able to leave Pewter City. Even though I didn't really do that much in the game besides leveling, I still had a lot of fun and even had a blast just watching my friend's adventure. I was staying at my friend's place for a couple of days and we spent the entire time playing the game, discovering places and fighting fire with fire because we didn't know type advantages. One of the funniest memories I have from that time was when we were walking through Diglett's cave, getting annoyed by walking into the same thing over and over again. But then, all out of nowhere, a Dugtrio, the triplet Diglett Pokémon, showed up and we were both just screaming like
Oh, baby, a triple!
We caught it and it became our ace for the entire playthrough. Around the time we defeated the third gym, I had to go back home again. My friend lived rather far away because he moved away from our town when we were really young, so that meant I wasn't able to visit him again soon. Meaning I wouldn't get to play Pokemon again for a long time. My dear Pikachu, I miss you.
I hope I never see you again.
When I got back home, I obviously wanted a Pokemon game for myself, but Yellow didn't get sold anymore, so I wasn't able to get one myself. I don't remember if the later generations were getting sold at this time, and I just didn't notice them because I was so set on Yellow version, but either way, I didn't get my own game. A bit later, another friend of mine back in my town got Pokémon Stadium for the N64. This is obviously a really different game where you can't catch and train your own Pokémon, but we still had a lot of fun just battling, though most of the time we would actually play the mini-games, which even though they're simple, they were also really hilarious. While writing this, I decided to look up some footage and all the fun memories just came right back to me. But how could someone not love a game with an Ekans like this? Look how happy he is! I still preferred Yellow version over Stadium though, and every time we went to the store I would check if they sold Yellow, but to no avail, they never sold Yellow version again. However, I did eventually get my hands on another game, but that's a story for another day. My Pokemon journey had only just begun. Thanks for watching everyone. This video sure took quite a lot of work, but I personally couldn't be happier with how it turned out. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I am planning to make a video like this about my experiences with the other games as well. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe so you will be notified when they come out. I, however, started with an internship a couple of weeks ago, which is taking a lot of my time, so it's gonna take a while before the next video will be out, but I'll work on them whenever I can, so please just be a little patient and I'll finish them as soon as I can. And finally, I want to give a massive thank you to CandyEV/Luvi for voicing the Pikachu in this video and doing a great job with that. I've been watching her Pokemon videos for years, and the fact that she was willing to help me out with this was really amazing. She even has an animation channel herself too now, so be sure to check out her channels CandyEV for Pokemon content and Luvi for animations. Thanks again for watching, I'll see you in a couple of months in the next video, but for now, good night.